Welcome to The Project. Today, bombshell witness testimony in the trial gripping the world, with new insight into the private life of Erin Patterson, accused mushroom killer. The first witness in the triple murder trial of accused mushroom killer Erin Patterson, Erin's estranged husband, Simon. Erin is accused of murdering Simon's parents, Don and Gail Patterson, and his aunt, Heather Wilkinson, by feeding them a beef Wellington allegedly laced with death cap mushrooms in July 2023. She's also accused of attempting to murder Heather's husband, Ian, who spent nearly 2 months in hospital but survived. The case for the defence? That Erin did not deliberately serve poisoned food to her guests. The poisoning nothing more than a terrible and tragic accident. Erin has pleaded not guilty. According to the prosecution, the mother of two faked a cancer diagnosis to lure her relatives to lunch, claiming to seek advice on how to break the news to her 2 children. That Erin served her guests individual beef Wellingtons on different plates. For them, 4 large grey plates. For her, a small orange-coloured one. The prosecution claims the 50-year-old feigned the same illness as her guests in hospital, lied about owning a food dehydrator, pretended she'd bought the mushrooms from a shop when mobile data placed her in a location known for death cap mushroom sightings. Today, Simon Patterson fought back tears, describing Erin as intelligent, witty and funny, that his relationship with her became strained over child support payments, that he declined Erin's invitation to lunch because
I feel too uncomfortable.
Erin's reply?
That's really disappointing. I've spent many hours this week preparing lunch and spent a small fortune on beef I fillet because I wanted it to be a special meal, as I may not be able to host a lunch like this again for some time.
The 10 News first reporter Sammy Butler was in court today and is with us now. Samantha, he's lost his parents and auntie. Just how emotional was Erin's estranged husband Simon today?
Well, Waleed, I was one of 6 journalists who were actually in the courtroom today. You might have heard there is a ballot system for media up here in Morwell, just given the intense media interest both in Australia and overseas for this case. So every day there is a ballot to determine who will be able to sit in there. But it does give you a really good insight into the reactions of both the accused and the witnesses. Now, Simon Patterson was quite emotional on 2 occasions. The first was when he was asked about his relationship with Erin Patterson, and he really described how he tried to keep things amicable with Erin even after they separated in 2015 for the sake of the couple's 2 children. The second moment when he also broke down was when he was discussing, the state of his father the day after the lunch at Leongatha and just how unwell he was and how difficult that was to see.
Did you get any insight into the nature of his relationship with Erin?
Yeah, we really did. They actually spent quite a bit of time questioning Simon about his relationship with Erin. They started right back at the beginning. He told the jury that he met Erin when they were both working for Monash City Council back in the early 2000s. A friendship blossomed, and from there they began a relationship. It wasn't until sort of 2009, between 2009 and 2015, that the relationship began to get a little bit rocky. They separated on several occasions, and then in 2015 is when that really seemed to become official. Things took a turn for the worst. He told the jury in about 2022 there was an incident where Erin discovered that he had listed himself as separated on a tax return. That was something that made her quite upset, and from that point she actually requested that he pay child support.
Samantha, Simon went into more detail about the day after the lunch. What can you tell us?
Well, we heard from Simon that he got a call from his parents quite early in the morning telling him that they were really quite unwell. They were taken to hospital by ambulance. He then went to check on Heather and Ian Wilkinson, and they were also extremely unwell. He drove them to hospital, and on the way, Heather actually raised the alarm about something that is quite interesting, and the prosecution has also alleged that this is part of their case, that Erin prepared those meals and served them up on different plates for her guests compared to her own. The guests were allegedly served this beef Wellington, which the prosecution claims was laced with death cap mushrooms, on round grey plates, and then Erin's was on a smaller, lighter coloured plate. So that is quite an interesting point that has been raised, and we'll probably hear more about that as the trial continues.
And what are we expecting next in the trial?
Well, as you can see, the court's pretty quiet here at Morwell. It has wrapped up for the day, but it will resume at 10:30 tomorrow. The defence is expected to continue their cross-examination of Simon Patterson, but he is just one of more than 140 witnesses who could be called throughout this trial. They include police, medical and forensic experts, as well as family members of both the accused and the alleged victims. Among them is Ian Wilkinson, the Currumborough pastor, Simon Patterson's uncle, who we know is the sole surviving lunch guest. So, guys, there is still really a long way to go in this trial. It is set down to run for up to 6 weeks.
Samantha, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, guys.
We are live from the lands of the Kulin Nation. Let's get into more of today's top stories. And a win in court today for disgraced war hero Ben Roberts-Smith as he fights to overturn his damning defamation loss against 9 newspapers. A secret recording of a phone call where journalist Nick McKenzie appears to admit he improperly accessed information on Roberts-Smith's legal strategy has been ruled admissible. Nine's lawyers had tried to argue the recording should be rejected because it was made without Mackenzie's knowledge or consent.
And Elon Musk's doppelganger is over it. Hugo One is his name. He's a disco soul singer from Luxembourg. And he says he's fed up with being mistaken for the tech billionaire. He says he's constantly stopped by strangers who often don't believe it when he says he's not Elon. Hugo says it's hardly a compliment because he thinks Musk is neither nice nor good looking.
Oh.
The positive is that going viral has driven more traffic to his socials. So.
Here's the thing, there he doesn't look like Elon, but in real life in those videos of people take with those poor drunk people there that, you know, he keeps getting...
Is drunk a key part of that story?
Absolutely.
I think so.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyone can look like anyone.
I get a lot of you look like my mate, and I'm like, who's your mate? And it turns out it's just a chunky bloke with a red beard. Could be anyone.
I feel sorry for Elon Musk when he's in Luxembourg because everyone just thinks he's this disco soul singer.
No, and then you have to perform.
And there, he's got to prove it.
I'm the space one. I'm the space car one.
I'm the space
I don't know how to DJ. Now, I'm not sure why Hugo's annoyed. I mean, who wouldn't want to be mistaken for this bloke?
Elon, I love the double hat, by the way. He's the only one that can do that. Get away with it.
Well, Mr. President, you know, they say I wear a lot of hats. Even my hat has a hat. So...
I want to make fun of him, but he's been married 3 times and I've only been married once, like a loser. So he's clearly much cooler than me. He knows what he's doing.
Just one marriage
I need another hat. I need 2 hats.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Coming up, the shocking moment a tourist mistakes a live crocodile for a statue. Plus, the Inspired Unemployed boys are back with their wildest pranks yet. You're watching The Project. You are watching The Project.
Australia's top-selling ute, the Ford Ranger and the Ford Everest SUV, are being recalled over a potential engine fault. The recall affects almost 13,500 vehicles built between 2022 and 2025. Ford says a manufacturing defect could cause the engine to stall, which then could result in a potentially dangerous sudden loss of power. Affected owners will be contacted in writing about having the issue rectified.
It's one of the most important decisions that we're asked to make as citizens. Not who you want to run the country, but whether you'll have onions on your democracy sausage. Beloved TV chef Ian Huey Hewitson is backing a new service in partnership with Uber and the Red Cross that should help ensure Aussies can get an election snag.
On election day, Australians rightly expect a sausage in bread for doing their civic duty. But the reality is many find themselves snagless. Which is why on May the 3rd, I'm ordering one on Uber Eats. That's right, Uber Eats is rolling out an innovative sausage platform in Brisbane, Melbourne and Sydney to get more sausages in more mouths.
Important, and of course, spare a thought for the snagless. Joining us now is Huey. Now, Huey, before we get to this particular service, you're the expert here. I need to know what the ideal democracy sausage is. Chicken, beef, onions, no onions, sauces. What have you got?
Well, what we've got is we've got a meat sausage, obviously, which is made with lamb and beef, and a vegetarian version. And then you can have onions if you want, and you get a choice of 3 sauces. Now, what more do you need?
But Huey, if you aren't finding yourself at the polling booth this weekend. Can you really call this a democracy sausage?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the thing about it is all these people who've already voted, and there's not a sausage sizzle at every booth. They can't miss out on their snag. That's the main reason we go to vote.
But hang on, Huey. If you're not at a booth, it's just a sausage. Like, doesn't this de-democratise the democracy sausage?
You're getting far too fancy for me. This is a democracy sausage from Uber Eats. Fantastic.
No further questions, Your Honour.
Now, Huey, the delivery part sounds precarious. How will they hold up in transit?
No, very special boxes. Designed them myself, and no, I'm not delivering them myself.
No. Well, I don't need you to deliver them, but are you cooking these sausages? Are you in a ghost kitchen somewhere?
Of course, absolutely. I'm going to Brisbane, Melbourne, and Sydney, and I'm going to cook them. I'm going to cook the lot.
Amazing. You're the man for the job. I do have to ask, our politicians have a history of not being able to eat simple foods like, say, human beings eat simple foods. Do you have any advice for our politicians this weekend?
They weren't very good. I think the thing is I wouldn't put too much sauce on them because it normally dribbles. Now, that's all right for us. Because I think half the fun of having a sausage in bread is it dribbling, isn't it? But no, politicians, leave it alone.
Well, Huey, can you actually... Let's settle this. What is the correct way to layer the sausage? Surely it has to be white bread, none of this multigrain. And then sausage, obviously, with the onions on top, then sauce. None of this onions underneath.
No onions underneath.
Whoa!
Onions.
Hold up.
Huey, we're losing you. We're losing you. I'm so sorry. What do you mean?
And I think mustard and one of the other sauces as well.
Oh, multiple sauces?
Yes.
Mustard?
Well, you have to dribble. If you don't dribble, it's a waste of time, isn't it? What are you doing it for? I mean, we've gone to a lot of trouble at Uber Eats to come up with the 3 sauces, with the onions, with really good sausages. And I don't know about the bread, but So we've gone to a lot of trouble, so we expect everyone to order. No, actually, that's unfair. If you can get a sausage sizzle at your local booth, fine, go with it.
Okay.
But we are filling in all the holes. You think of all the people who've already voted.
Yeah.
If they missed out on their sausage, that would be shocking.
I take your point.
Yeah.
I just never realised dribbleless sausage eating was so meaningless, Huey. I've really got to think about that. But thank you very much for your time.
Absolute pleasure.
This hurts.
You need to process, so we'll take a break and then we'll come back.
Welcome back. This is The Project.
Now, you may find this vision a little distressing. A tourist in the Philippines got more than he bargained for after climbing into a zoo enclosure to pose for a selfie with a crocodile that he thought was fake.
No.
The croc wasn't fake, and it wasn't having any of it. And it sank its teeth into the man's thigh.
Whoa.
And then at one point tried to flip him.
No.
We're going to see that soon. The man was trapped for about 30 minutes.
No.
30 minutes before he could be rescued, and he ended up with about 50 stitches.
We really needed a camera on our audience then for everyone who just went like this.
They're showing us at the project.
Yeah, what is going on? And in an Australian first, ANZ plans to slow down cyber criminals by offering customers passwordless web banking. Passwords will be scrapped. Customers will instead log in using a PIN or a biometric passkey. That's like their fingerprint or their face. The bank says it will help protect against malware attacks, including info stealer scams. The service is offered on ANZ's digital banking website, but not its app.
And in breaking news, I'm breaking this now, guys. There is a disco soul singer in Luxembourg who has hacked Elon Musk's account.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And if you're a chunky ranger, good luck.
See, I love this because I hate passwords. I hate them.
Yeah.
I hate them with a passion because, one, I can never remember them. And then when I actually do remember them, they say I haven't remembered them. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, no, you remembered them, but it's actually too close to the last password that you had. And I was like, no, because you just told me that wasn't the password. And then they're like, no, that is the password. And then you've got to change it again. Anyway.
Yeah.
Very stressful.
I'm sorry, that's all the time we have in this section.
I'm sorry.
$250.
I have thought, they're just the worst. They're the worst. And it's like, let's verify. I'm like, no, I don't want you to verify, please.
Yeah, look, I'm just trying to get me Dolomites cash. It's been in there for a while now. Today is a very special day, Susie, isn't that right?
Oh, Nick, I thought that you'd forgotten, actually.
How could I, mate? Thursday, May 1st, 2025. It's time for On This Day.
Yeah, it's my favourite segment. Penny Black, the world's first adhesive postage stamp, was issued by the UK today in 1840. Wow. The price of stamps back then was a penny, and for those who are asking, that's 1 cent. Today, a postage stamp will cost you $150,000.
In the year 2000, Ridley Scott's Gladiator premiered. It went on to win 5 Oscars, including Best Actor for Russell the Love Muscle Crowe.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
And I learned so much from this film, mainly that Roman soldiers had Aussie accents.
Yeah, it's good.
But Nick, are you not entertained?
Bloody entertained.
You bloody were. And who doesn't love a cone, am I right, Sam Taunton? An ice cream cone, that is. They debuted on this day in the 1904 World Fair in St. Louis. And I get my ice cream the old-fashioned way, milked from an almond with no traces of lactose or joy.
Playtime and my nightmares would never be the same after Hasbro sold the first Mr. Potato Head doll in 1952. And on Saturday, he may become our new Prime Minister.
On this day in 2018, British cartoon Peppa Pig was removed from a popular Chinese streaming platform after the character developed a, quote, gangster reputation. Ooh, get that pork on your fork. That makes no sense.
In 1956, Johnny Cash earned his first #1 on the US country charts for his hit I Walk the Line.
Because you're mine, I walk the line.
And judging by this picture, he not only walked the line, but he also snorted it.
And in 1930, Aussie cricket legend Sir Donald Bradman scored 236 runs for Australia in his first tour of England.
Despite that, he never broke Booney's record of 53 cans of beer on the flight from Sydney. He should have been knighted.
Soft, I'm calling it. Having an ab-fab birthday today is British icon Joanna Lumley, as well as filmmaker Wes Anderson. And yes, Wes, I am taking meetings. And finally, the biggest birthday regards to my personal hero, American frontierswoman Calamity Jane, who would have been 173 years old today, and that is all.
Aren't you missing someone, Susie?
No, I don't think I am, Nick. Unless you're talking about the fact that it was your birthday yesterday.
Oh yeah, I am actually.
Yes, well, if you think that's important, it's my birthday today in your face, Cody. Yes, it's not called things that happened yesterday. It's called on this day. Boom. But also, happy birthday for yesterday, mate. Yusuf Al Waleed, you're up.
Coming up, it is the wildest new sport on the planet. It's all homegrown. We go inside the championship competition of RunIt and speak to the battered and bruised winner whose name will be very familiar.
Some more news now, and harrowing testimony today from Erin Patterson's estranged husband as her murder trial continues in Victoria. Simon Patterson fought back tears as he gave evidence about his parents' and his aunt's final moments. They'd fallen violently ill within hours of eating Erin's beef Wellington. She's accused of deliberately lacing it with poisoned mushrooms. The court was also shown text messages where Erin tried to persuade Simon to attend the lunch after he told her he wasn't coming.
Shocking scenes today as a Trumpet of Patriots volunteer was punched during a confrontation outside a pre-polling centre in Melbourne.
Oi! 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 Cut it out! Cut it out!
Yeah, we were built on multiculturalism. Yeah, these ads aren't what Australia is about. This is not uniting Australia, this is dividing Australia.
Figure that out. Meanwhile, the coalition's finally released its policy costings. Shadow Treasurer Angus Taylor says they'll improve Australia's bottom line by $14 billion over 4 years by lifting productivity and cutting wasteful spending. He also says the coalition will reduce debt by $40 billion over the same time, but conceded things will get worse before they get better.
This is the biggest improvement in the budget position since the current costing conventions were put in place almost 15 years ago.
These costings are about 3 things: higher taxes, savage cuts, and still bigger deficits.
And yesterday we introduced you to RunIt, the brutal new full-contact Aussie sport that is basically football without any of the actual football. Last night, RunIt held its first ever championship, and it was even more brutal than we may have expected.
8 of the nation's hardest hitters descended on Melbourne last night, ready to go head-to-head in the first ever RunIt Championship.
Runner ready! Defender ready! 3, 2, 1, run it!
And here we
go first.
Round 1, run 1, and Canberra's Curtis Malataisi is down. So the judges call it.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner from the black corner.
Then on to round 2. And at run 2, Melbourne's Troy Pulapaki is out cold and out of the competition.
Look, I've said it yesterday, and I'm going to say it again today. I'm really concerned about what we're seeing with these sort of events where the most violent aspects of our sports are being exploited for entertainment purposes.
And after 12 brutal hits, Brisbane's Jeremiah Semiosa was crowned RunIt royalty.
Jeremiah Semiosa is your RunIt champion. He walks away with the $20,000.
But before the night was over, one last special guest clash between two footy legends.
Burgess and Nadolo, two legends of the game, about to collide.
This is frightening.
The Englishman, victorious.
I think there's a big future in this sport with how we can grow him. But yeah, big future for RunIt.
Oh, and joining us now is former Rabbitoh star George Burgess. George, it looked absolutely brutal. Half the audience could not even watch the screen. Why did you want to be involved in this?
Yeah, look, I think it's great. I think it's a great concept. I always loved that part of the game, the kick-off carries and the collision. But I do see some flaws in it, as you can see in some of the footage. I think there's some improvements we can definitely make with making sure the competitors are prepared and ready to go and they've got the right technique. So that's something that I'm really passionate about, coming on board and helping out RunIt. And I thought it was great for me to have a go myself and show them how it's done.
Yeah, I've got to say, watching it was really obvious when the two of you went at it. You looked like people who knew what you were doing and were trained. And then when the other guys did it, it looked like just chaos and anything could have gone wrong. So I take your point there. Just the experience of doing it, though. You've run at a lot of defensive lines in rugby league. You've been in a lot of defensive lines when people are running at you. What is actually scarier, that on a rugby league field or running at a 160-kilogram Fijian rugby player in that situation in RunIt?
Well, I mean, in a game, you're running into 3 or 4 guys from 25 metres away, so it's a little bit different. But yes, I've never tackled anyone as big as Nemani before, and I'm pretty sure he was about 170. So I think moving forward, we need to have strict weigh-ins because. Yeah, it's got to be regulated properly.
Now I've got 2 little boys at home, a 6 and a 3-year-old, so it's RunIt straight in the hallway every day. Have you? Your brothers are rugby league players. Have you run it straight with your brothers?
Oh yeah, definitely. We grew up in the back garden, wrestling and running at each other. So it's all fun and games, but you got to make sure that you're doing it right. And one thing that we're pretty passionate about at RunIt is not. It's not for kids really. It's an adult sport, and we don't want people trying to copy in the park or in the back garden.
George, do you think any of the other Burgess boys would compete?
I don't know. I think they're running scared a little bit after watching last night. I'll call them out though if they want to go.
In all seriousness, George. I mean, I'm a leaguey. I talk about rugby league all the time. I love it as a sport, but. In that sport, and it seems to be across every code in the country at the moment, we're spending so much time getting dangerous knockouts out of the sport. At least we're trying to. So should we really be inventing new sports where they seem inevitable?
Hey, look, I think if we really manage it properly, I think it can be a great spectacle. It's such a theatre out there, and it was great to witness it firsthand. But I think we can really control it if we keep progressing. You know, the target area is here. And if we referee that properly, there's really a very small chance of players getting hurt, competitors getting hurt. But I think we're a long way from where we want to be with this venture, and it's just the beginning, but it's exciting.
Well, George, we appreciate your time and congratulations on last night. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
I just love the idea of who needs tries. Why are we bothering with tries?
A play? No.
That's way more fun. I don't know how tries work, but I know how that works, and it's grouse. Now, to Winthrop Primary School in Western Australia now, where by the sounds of it, the kids there were lucky enough to get a visit from a pop star. Look at this reaction. Who's come to town? Who's there? Is it Gaga? Taylor Swift?
Oh, what's he?
Yeah.
Elbows run it straight at the kids. That's how you get my vote. Run it straight. Any chance you get.
Now, would you trust a robot, or perhaps Nick Cody, to help you decide who to vote for in the federal election? Well, apparently more undecided voters are asking artificial intelligence tools for tips. Just how reliable is AI? Volunteers armed with party printouts are under threat, with undecided voters turning to chatbots for advice.
This is going to be one of the first elections where AI informed at least some of the voters.
Social media platforms have become the world's most powerful distributors of news. It's where almost half of Aussies get their daily dose.
How are you getting your information to prepare to vote?
Just off social media and the internet. And
Instagram, TikTok.
a lot of it's on TikTok, to be honest.
What sort of stuff pops up on TikTok and Instagram?
Not much actual information, probably. A lot of memes and stuff like that.
AI-driven algorithms, which favour engagement over accuracy, now shape much of what Aussies know about the election.
AI inherently has biases because each individual AI has its own large language model it's been trained by. And of course, it's only as good as what training data has gone in at that end. Most AIs are actually pretty dumb. They're some glorified version of autocomplete.
But AI can play a handy role in filtering the daily deluge of political information.
AI is pretty useful and it's pretty reliable in lots of cases. I wouldn't recommend that anybody use it as the only piece of information, and quite famously, it can hallucinate wrong information or things like wrong dates. But I think that voters are increasingly using it to navigate not just the election, but almost all parts of their lives.
Would you use a chatbot?
I actually did. I used Snapchat AI to see if it would give me any answers, but it said that it couldn't give me any answer from anything from 2021 and up, and it couldn't persuade my view.
Digital journalist Tim Burrows decided to ask the biggest AI services which leader he should vote for.
I was very clear, this is just hypothetical, but 5 of the 6 recommended the government. And I'm pretty sure that was just because more has been written about government policies than opposition policies.
AI is not only reshaping the way we vote, it's transforming how our pollies campaign.
The political parties are almost certainly using it to create policy documents, to target voters, to create niche content for particular communities, to translate information.
2024 was a big year for global elections, giving us an idea of how the use of AI might play out when we go to the polling booth.
In some countries like South Africa and Indonesia, there's been some suggestions that voters were told information that wasn't true.
All I have to do is oppose a tariff. The more, the faster they move in.
There was some suggestion that the Donald Trump tariff schedule was designed by ChatGPT. But because AI is being used by white-collar workers around the world to help iterate ideas, to help write documents, it's almost certain that it's being used everywhere in Australian politics right now.
Meta, which runs Facebook and Instagram, says it's learnt a lot from last year's global elections and is working with its independent fact-checking partners to stop the spread of AI misinformation in our upcoming election.
I check facts. I don't believe everything I see online.
If I look at something, I'll go find out for myself and do the research.
There certainly is a risk if people use it at face value that perhaps it could undermine democracy. One of the issues is because there's more written about incumbents, the government in power, that will tend to play to that government's advantage.
So how much could AI influence this election?
I think we're early for it to have a major effect this time round, but it is the future, absolutely. We're not at what they call AGI, artificial general intelligence, which is when it becomes indistinguishable from human levels of judgment and insight. And at that point, we will be very, very sensible to be quite scared about that.
And if you are considering outsourcing your vote to a robot before hitting the polling booth on Saturday,
the key thing with AI is to think really carefully about your prompt. The more information you can give it, the more specific you can be about what you want it to do, then the better, more tailored answer it can give you.
They should be asking AI to help them understand policies that they might not be familiar with. AI is an incredibly effective educator. It's not going to decide for you, but it may help you decide.
Would you try any other chatbots?
Yeah, I might. Is it this weekend? If I don't have an answer by this weekend, I might have to ask ChatGPT. I don't know.
All right, am I alone in not liking this at all?
Here's the thing. If it's used how is suggested there as a way to maybe inform or educate you on policies that you maybe don't know about, potentially. If you were asking it who to vote for, I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't
You've got to be more specific, you know, who'd be the best at running it straight.
Yeah,
You know,
for example.
Yes.
For example, yeah.
But I just feel like this... I know I'm on the losing side of this argument, I get it. But to outsource thinking... at every level we are doing... Like, thinking is actually an important thing about being a human, right? It's one of the things that makes us different.
Well, critical analysis especially.
Right, and to outsource it and give so much power to whoever wants to design algorithms, I just find
But I think new voters, young people who aren't sure what to do, I think as an educational tool, may be a good thing. As a decider, I agree with you. I don't think it's a great idea.
I'm petrified. We're going to have a cry
Another
now,
breakdown for Walid.
We are going to go to a break. I'll sort myself out. Be back soon.
Coming up, the Inspired Unemployed boys are back after bearing it all for their new dicey show. And Aussie rockers Eskimo Joe join us at the desk with some exciting new music. This is The Project.
Our Aussie comedy team, the Inspired Unemployed, are back with a brand new show, ticking off some wild bucket list challenges around the globe, and they're bearing all.
Been in Germany, eh?
Oh my God! Yes! Oh my God! No way! Dude, let's go! My wheelie's on other men!
Well, they're fully clothed for now. Matt and Jack from the Inspired Unemployed here. Thank God for this. Can I just point something out? We had to re-blur that vision because the blurring you guys did was nowhere near blurred enough.
Channel 10. Channel 10 did that. Yeah, I blurred it a lot more than that, and I would have gave myself a few more inches.
Great compliment.
Well, one of the blokes on the floor was like, I can see floppy bits, I can see floppy bits. So
there was evidently a lot going on there. What is this
There
show?
wasn't that much going on, trust me. It was 8 degrees Celsius, and there's not much going on.
But in the full montage, I mean, what is this show about?
Oh, it's a great question. So we wanted to do a bucket list show. We love travelling. We've always loved travelling. We wanted to do a bucket list show. And then
That's called Go Away. So that's already a show.
Yeah.
So we had to do something different. And
we realised that would be so boring. Like if we just do fun stuff.
So it's pretty much a reverse bucket list of things, you know, the more wacky and weird things you see when you're travelling, or maybe you don't see, but they're out there.
Yeah.
So all the stuff you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Pretty much,
Yeah. Everything we don't want to do, because it's just, I mean, better to watch, I guess. No one wants to watch it having fun.
Better to watch. Yeah.
It's given me real Amazing Race / Jackass.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying that. Yeah. Because we kind of said like make it hectic to the producers and stuff, but we said we got what we asked for. Like there was a moment in I was in Malaysia, you'll see, and it's there was lost in translation. We were in a fight. We got in a brawl, to be honest. And
It was like it was like a Salat, so it's like a martial arts training. It was initiation to get your white belt.
Okay.
And so what they do is they get 5 people each year, and when they be initiated, like a gang initiation, they just got to get bashed by the rest of the squad. So it's 5 of us versus 30.
You got to protect the circle,
Oh
and then
my
30 people run in and just fight you.
So
but we had a safety guy there. He was an SAS dude, and he was real serious. And he said to them, their head teacher, he's like, make sure they know there's no head kicks or head punches, head shots. And that just got completely lost in translation.
All headshots.
Literally,
The guys love headshots.
Yeah. They didn't hear one word of that because 10 minutes later, my head from here, you'll see it in the show, from here to here is just blood. The whole thing. I didn't even know what happened because it all happened so fast, and he was not anywhere near me to help.
Oh, wow.
The 1 second I did let my guard down, he got kicked in the head. Otherwise, I was back on the rest of him.
Oh my God. Is there something though that, are you expecting there to be guys, is there a tap out button? Is there help me?
Well, it's not all super bad. Like, there's just some weirder things, but it's not like... not getting bashed.
It's like moderately bad, like kind of bad.
But we didn't have to use a tap out.
Actually, one time, the bear guy. So we had like a bear.
True.
So
the bear guy, I forgot about him.
The bear guy, he was a bear shaman. So he thought he was a bear. So he did this ritual over like 4 hours and he cut us open to sacrifice blood and all these things. We didn't really know what was happening. He just said, once I start the ceremony, he told the whole crew, he's like, you can't stop me.
Oh my
so
God.
his eyes were rolling in the back of his head and he's just got up and he's got you see that scar? That needed stitches. And
Oh my God.
But we couldn't stop it. And he's cut my arm open in Falcon's arm and there's blood everywhere dripping on this mask and his eyes are rolling. And our safe...
We should be at a winery.
These stories, you get to see all of them when the list airs tonight on 10, straight after the project. Hopefully you have a strong stomach. Would you please thank Matt and Jack? I'm glad you're alive.
With hits like Black Fingernails, Red Wine and From the Sea, we all fell in love with Aussie rockers Eskimo Joe decades ago. Now, the 8-time ARIA winners have just dropped their latest single, Miracle Cure.
I've been looking for a miracle cure, a silver bullet through a heart that's so pure, some kind of remedy to stop my pain. I wanna feel it when you're running through my veins.
Please welcome two of the Joes, Kath Temperley and Joe Quartermain.
Hello. We have been tapping along and dancing to this tune all day, but I have to say it's a banger, but it's quite cheery.
Yeah.
There's a bit of an upbeat vibe to this. It's not the Joes that we know. Where did that come from?
It's a good question. Me and Joel were talking about this. Like, when did we transition to writing major chord songs? Because everything up until this was all minor chords.
And there's also a key change at the end, which is an uplifting.
Yeah.
It's basically become Bon Jovi, haven't it?
Exactly. You get one key change per career, and we've used it up.
Excellent. So, Joel, you made a very intriguing statement recently, which is that the third track on the album, track 3, is the most important track. I've never heard this theory before. How do we get to this?
Well, that was a bit of a sink or swim moment. I was asked to speak at the cricket on ABC radio, and I had to make this analogy to get out of talking about cricket because I don't know anything about it. And on to music. And I remember being a kid, and I remember noticing that track 3 was always like the best song on the record. And in a batting lineup, the third batsman, the first drop, is the best batsman in the list, or the best batter.
That's where Don Bradman batted.
Exactly.
Yes.
Sachin Tendulkar, the whole thing. So that was
You
my
know
way
cricket
out.
stuff.
Hang on a second.
He does know what he's talking about.
So hang on. So there'll be an upcoming album.
Yeah.
Track 3 is going to be the Don Bradman of songs.
Exactly. And we're still working on that.
With the upcoming album, the new stuff, is it all upbeat, or are we going to get some classic angst?
So hold on a minute. Look. We can pretty much do about one song a year at this point in time because it takes us that long to write one song. So I'm going to give you an exclusive. In 12 years' time, we're going to have a brand new album. Set your calendars. It's going to be amazing.
Can I ask why does it take about that long?
We just take a long time. We just go over every...
A bit older, a bit slower. I'm not sure. But we live in different states as well. I'm in Melbourne now, Cav's in Perth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
that makes sense.
Miracle Cure was written backstage mainly because we were doing a big acoustic tour around the country, and, we started with an idea and we're like, how about this? And after about 30-odd shows, we pretty much had the song. So maybe chuck a few more tours in there and we should have a few more songs.
Well, that's now, but I want to take you back to 1997 because you posted this exceptional newspaper clipping. I think we've got it. Eskimo Joe, winners are grinners. You won a band competition, and this quote of yours really stuck out to me. I think you were like 19 at the time. We won by 102 points. The reaction was good. We didn't get booed or anything. Were you expecting to get booed?
Absolutely, obviously. I read that interview the other day as well, and it was so embarrassing. It's like 19-year-old Joel saying embarrassing stuff. But I remember we did that gig. We played second out of 7 bands, and before we'd actually gotten off stage, Stu turned to me and said, "We've won."
Really?
Like, that sort of confidence. I don't know.
We'd also done the midnight red eye to get there because there's this flight you can do from Perth where, you know, you get it on at midnight and then it's morning.
One of the worst in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we'd done that on our way, and so we hadn't really slept, and we were pretty delirious. But yeah.
It's good prep for rock and roll.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
It really is.
We have to admire your longevity and your commitment to the cause, especially you, Cav, with the black nail polish and of course the black hair that is quite vertical.
I think so.
Is this the longest commitment to these two things in the history of the race, the human race?
Definitely the longest relationship we've ever had in our lives. But we're still here and we're still making
I
music.
think Cav was here like about exactly a year ago. I feel like this is our yearly checkup.
How
are you guys going?
So does this all have to stay for as long as Eskimo Joe are going?
I guess so. I mean, look, if the hair is up, you know, the show is going. When my hair goes down, you know that the career is over.
That's the beginning of the brooding solo career.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like the opposite of the fat lady sings.
Yeah.
When the clock goes down, it's all over. We're done.
So much sense. Well, the new single Miracle Cure is out now. You heard some of it. It is a bop.
The forthcoming album, however, is not.
Maybe a little bit of a longer way. A little bit of a longer way. But would you please thank Cav and Joe? That is it for tonight. Would you also thank Susan Youssef, the birthday girl, Nick Cody?
Not the birthday boy.
Well, his birthday was yesterday. Birthday was yesterday. Now I will allow Wally to speak.
Inspired Unemployed. Good night, right?
Bye-bye.